Hi everyone, today I'm joined by Dr. Mechaber, a general internist and our Senior Dean of Student Affairs. You're a UM alumna who came through the BS MD program. What inspired you to pursue medicine in the first place?
Like many, I didn't have a specific experience, one particular time or thing that I can think about. I'm a first-generation American. I don't have any physicians in my family. My parents are computer systems analysts, retired, and my mom is a biochemist. I remember very early on being completely fascinated by science, as cliche as that may sound, and found that throughout my early academic years, I was always drawn to the sciences and to math. At some point, probably when I was about 10, I remember declaring that I would become a physician. I don't know where that came from, but I stuck to that goal and pursued a career in medicine and chose actually a BSMD program at the time that we had one at the University of Miami, because it really blended my love of knowing that I would land in medical school. I wanted to complete medical school in Miami, in this incredible community and at this school. And it gave me an opportunity to explore so many other things in college, and I had a lot of diverse interests at the time. So medicine seemed like a perfect fit for me to blend my love of people, wanting to work with people and to help others, and pursue science in a really meaningful way.
That's so awesome. And a lot of people ask questions about, should I go through a BSMD program? I'm not sure if I want to do medicine. I've gotten a lot of high school students asking me that, like seniors or juniors. And from your experience, did you like the BSMD, or do you think for those who are a little bit undecided that maybe they should just go through college and then see how they like their experiences then?
So I definitely have changed my opinion overall in about a 30-year career as a physician. My personal bias was that having the opportunity to complete a BSMD, while a wonderful, wonderful way, and very much the European way after high school of dedicating your studies to a pursuit of medicine, here in our country, we have this luxury of time in a university setting to really explore a lot of interests. So my personal bias is that when I was 17 and committed to my career in medicine, I think there was so much more that I could have and probably would have explored before making the final decision to come. And for many, it's a premature decision. I have no regrets. I absolutely loved the program here and had a wonderful opportunity, certainly, to accelerate what for us is a very long journey to get to the end of the road when we're ready to practice and kind of hone our craft. So while I have no regrets, I personally think that if there is absolutely something else that a student is interested in, I frequently encourage students to explore all that education has to offer. Completing undergrad in 2 years was very fast for me, even though I had credits coming in and the program was set up to really support us in that way. Starting medical school at the age of 19 was very, very young back then. And it took time to acclimate to working with others in a setting where a little bit more time could have helped me really just think about what I was committing to really for the rest of my professional life. So I told both of my daughters, I said they can pursue any career they want as long as they spend a full amount of time, if possible, in a university setting.
Looking back, what's one pivotal decision you made in medical school that impacted your career path?
Wow, I feel like there were decisions made all the time, but it seemed like a whirlwind back in the day when we had a very standard curriculum, very high intensity preclinical years, certainly very different than what we deliver as our exciting Next Gen MD curriculum now. Probably the most pivotal decision was choosing my specialty and deciding to pursue internal medicine. And at the time, I was very interested in general internal medicine and had hopes of becoming a primary care physician.
You've mentored hundreds of medical students. What's one piece of advice you would wish every student would take to heart?
I love that you asked that, because the privilege of the job that I have had really over 2 decades and longer is working with our medical students. They bring so much joy to everything that I do. And I love that you're asking what advice would they take to heart, because I do think that our students certainly listen. They're mostly sponges for advice. I try to coach a lot of medical students too, so they realize that they have the tools that they need to make really amazing decisions. Specific advice that I hope they take to heart is to always be authentic, to do what matters to them. Probably multiple advice I'm giving you here, that students frequently feel that there's something more that they need to strive for or do differently because they are their own worst critics and compare themselves to the rest of their peers or students that came before them. So in battling some of that imposter syndrome in our students, the actual advice is be your authentic self, do what matters to you, value the experiences that are important to you, because you will shine when you're doing the things that you love.
I think that's really good advice. And I know for both of us, we're always trying to be better, but I think there's a fine line between like being the best version of yourself versus trying to be someone else and just trying to, I don't know, be the best. And I think it's very difficult once you're in medical school. Everyone is competitive and everyone's really smart. They're very involved, but it's definitely difficult to be able to stay authentic and stay in your own lane. Like, this is what I want to do, not what someone else is doing that I need to do.
Right. It is inherently competitive because you're all incredibly talented and competitive by nature. That's what got you here. But you all hear me say at orientation that you're here for a reason. You hear our dean and our admissions dean always say, we did not make mistakes. We chose an incredible class every year of students who are just incredible in so many ways. And students often find that they're unfortunately doubting themselves in a way that they don't need to, that there's so much pressure around, I think because of all the information overload, that there should always be something more or better or different than I would be doing than what I feel I need to do right now. And that's why a lot of our advising is focused on what brings you joy, what are the things that matter to you, what do you have time for? Not everybody can get through a really grueling day, particularly when you're busy with clinical work, the same way. And that's okay. And that's a lot of the work that we do just in student affairs and in the advising community, to really try to nurture the individual and focus on what's going to bring every individual student success.
How do you help students figure out their specialty when they're undecided?
Excellent question. So for many years, I had the honor, again, and privilege of running our Office of Professional Development and Career Guidance. Now, as you know, I work with Ms. Cristina Garcia, our Director of Career Services, and so we've spent 7 years together also working with students on specialty choice. I found very early on, again, that there is no perfect formula. And what I work with students to recognize is understanding that there may not be an aha moment or a light bulb that absolutely is the one patient experience that drives a decision. I find that many students come to medical school, maybe not with an absolute decision on what specialty they will choose, although we know a small percentage are committed when they start and they hold on to that commitment. The majority change their mind. So on the one hand, students need to understand that changing your mind or being in flux with this decision making is totally normal. And normalizing that, if a student is truly undecided, what seems to work best is to have them think about their priorities and their values. We use inventories, as you know, national inventories that have come together not just for career choice, because students have mostly decided to become doctors by the time they're here, but even for specialty choice, there's a lot of ways and questionnaires that help guide what are the things you love to do. Dissecting it at a very granular level. Where do you see yourself working? Where have you enjoyed working? What kinds of patients? Inpatient, outpatient, continuity of care, immediate care, all those things. So we go through lots of those questions. Ultimately, if a student remains really undecided, I have found over the years that I have encouraged students to recognize that it's often more more beneficial to be okay thinking about numerous specialties than to feel at the end of the road that maybe a student doesn't even want to pursue clinical medicine. That happens sometimes, very rarely, but we normalize that as well. So I use, really to answer you, a lot of different tactics. It depends on the student, and often trying to get at what their level of indecision is. Is it truly that they're just scared of making a decision, or they don't trust their gut and their instincts, or they feel they're going to make a wrong decision? And there is no wrong decision. It's a matter of a balance and a blend of interests, values, making sure they're educated about what not only residency will look like, but what a career could look like, and understanding that choosing a specialty, as critical and important as it is something that can change, and people do change that, and ultimately making a choice that they feel good with at this point in time that allows them options to pursue the kind of clinical career, if it's going to be clinical or academic or research career, that fits not only their personality but their interests.
I think that's really helpful, especially for the new M1 class. I've met several of them last week at the Mixer and also during the org fair. And of course, I was at the org fair for a specific organization that was towards one specialty, but it seemed like a lot of the students said that they weren't sure, and that they, of course, they're just starting off, but that they're open to numerous specialties, which is really good to hear, because I think if you're, one lane only towards one specialty during rotations, you don't really appreciate everything that you're learning and all the experiences that you're having.
Absolutely. I mean, the early advice is to keep an open mind. Mm-hmm. When we start talking about the roadmap to residency and some of the programs that we do, key information is to share what I mentioned before, where so many, I know data that's been studied on student choice, medical student choice, is about a third of the class may come in with an intentional decided specialty, and 2/3 of that group will change their mind. So the amount that moves forward with what they came in hoping to pursue is very small. So open-mindedness is really important. You're really shaped by all of the experiences you have. Some students will have that one patient or that one faculty or that one mentor that completely reshapes their vision of something. And similarly, students may have an idea of a specialty and have a rotation experience that they don't love. And the other piece in advising that we spend a lot of time talking about is not allowing a 4 or 6 week experience. Maybe things didn't gel, teaching was different, something just didn't meet the students' expectations, and that alone shouldn't really derail what your interest is in a specialty. One of the other things that I think is wonderful that certainly didn't exist to the degree that it does now a few decades ago when I was in school is shadowing. That, the idea that I'm going to come to medical school and I will have early clinical experiences. That's what we love about your time here at Miller. But shadowing is a common way that students gain exposure early on to other specialties that are often electives or areas that they may not really delve into when they complete their core clinical clerkships. So we encourage it when students have some free time. Our faculty, as you know, and our residents are more than happy to have students explore. Our interest groups try to pursue that a lot too. So in any way that students can really become educated, I think that's an important part of their early career exploration. So when it comes time, they're making an educated decision.
You've served in major national leadership roles through the AAMC. What has been your proudest accomplishment, whether in that capacity or any other part of your career?
Specific to my national leadership, I have been the past chair or served as chair of the Group on Student Affairs, which is a national organization of all student affairs professionals in the country at medical schools. My biggest accomplishment with that group, because we serve for a 5-year term over time, was really tackling the transition to residency space. I became chair of one of the committees during COVID. And so having to work together with incredibly dedicated leaders across the country in how we reshaped medical education at a time that the health and safety and well-being of our students was paramount, while we also had to work out ways that you could safely continue on with your education, was an incredible experience to be part of. And following that, so much changed in the transition to residency space, virtual interviews, how you apply, new platforms. It feels like to you as our students, everything's changing all the time. You hear us talk about the uncertainty all the time. So my biggest accomplishment has been being able to put together a lot of effort to work and bridge the space between our medical students in the UME community and the program directors in the graduate medical education community, GME, to really build an understanding of the importance for everything our students want and our program directors need. So transparency, cohesion, efficiency in the application process, how data is shared and used, and really making a lot of improvements in that space that helps both our students and the folks that are trying to make really important decisions about how to choose the best applicant. So that's been a real honor to be part of.
That's really great that it's moving forward, because in our minds, I know that residency applications just sound so daunting and like a big, scary thing. I'm sure like we thought the same thing when it came to medical school applications as well. So hearing that there's so much progress that has already happened and so much more that is going to be made is really good to hear.
Yeah, we're very excited. Progress and just a lot of communication in a space that felt like a big void for a long time. Those of us that worked with students knew what was happening on the student side, and we didn't really have as close a bridge and communication with national leaders of the graduate medical education programs. And that's been a huge plus that has helped all of us move everything through that transition a lot more smoothly.
Student well-being is a huge part of your work. What's your top tip for avoiding burnout in medical school?
Lots of tips. The most important, our students always hear us share: hold on to your passions. It may sound cliche. I know you talk about things that you love to do, and our students who highlight what they do for fun and for their own well-being are my favorite things to share with students. I think social media has helped our students see and understand that you can have life while you're in medical school. You're going to work very hard, and you work harder than you probably ever have, but at the same time, there is absolutely time to dedicate to at least one thing that keeps you going, the thing that motivates you, whether it's a hobby, your family, your partner, your pet, cooking, anything, you name it. Those passions don't need to disappear, and we work really, really hard with our student groups and our faculty to continue to encourage our students' creative outlets and the things that they're passionate about. And I love seeing them do all those things.
There are so many student organizations, anything that you like to do, like it's there, pickleball, tennis, cooking,
right?
Like just well-being and like walking, the walking club. I love that.
Yeah, the running and walking and visual arts and humanities and our students who sing and our students who play instruments and those things that just, even if you're going to pick up your guitar or your violin for 20 minutes every few days, you don't need to let go of that. And certainly continuing to exercise. There's always time. It's tiring and you're tired at the end of the day, and there's always more time to study. But the 15 or 20 minutes of personal time at a minimum will go a really long way.
Definitely. I know for me, like my two non-negotiables are exercise and being able to cook my own food.
Right.
And I know for us, we like to exercise together, and it's just the perfect place to just reset your brain, and then you can continue studying after.
Absolutely. And you'll probably be more productive.
What's a quote or mantra you live by?
Something I learned from a mentor, and I have heard others share, is that you can have everything. You just can't have everything at the same time.
That's really good.
So you can pursue all your dreams and want the moon and really often feel like there's more and more and more, but it may not all be available all at once, and that's okay.
I think that's good for any person to hear, especially any medical student, because I know even for me, I have the longest list on my to-do list, and there's so many things I want to do, but can't do everything.
And they'll come. You can't do everything, and it comes a lot when we think about work-life balance or work-life integration, juggling all the things, parenting, being a physician, being an educator, just being a working mom, all those things. For years, a lot of times it's very hard to think about, why can't I do all these things well? I want to do all these things all at the same time, and things will come. We have to learn to be patient and, again, put our best foot forward and do the best we can at any given time, and things will fall into place.
we're going to try something new and do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay. Specialty you would choose if not internal medicine?
Pediatrics.
Favorite Miami coffee shop?
Ooh, Brewing Buddha, which is in Pinecrest, way south of here. Not anywhere our medical students live, but it's
Never
awesome.
heard of that. Maybe we should go.
Should come.
Most common piece of advice you give students?
Be true to yourself.
Most underrated specialty?
Pathology.
One word to describe you and medical students?
Engaged.
Favorite part of match day?
Oh, the energy. The excitement and the energy.
Go-to stress reliever after a busy week?
Exercise and probably Netflix.
Morning person or night owl?
Definitely morning person.
Me too. If you could give your med school self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Slow down. Take it all in.
Any advice for first-year medical students?
Yes, soak it all in. Take it all in, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mechaber, for sitting down with me for an interview.
My
The
pleasure.
sweet part of Sweets and Scrubs is some banana bread.
Aw, thank you. Oh, I love banana bread. This is so sweet. That works perfectly. Are there chocolate chips in here?
There are chocolate
Ooh,
chips.
thank you. This was great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.